Okay, so the Starfield Xbox showcase just wrapped up. We're live right now on Luke Stevens Live. You should come over and hang out with us and all these lovely people. We just got done with the showcase. We saw Starfield in its mighty glory, and overall, I think it was a pretty impressive showcase. People in general seem to have been pretty impressed with what they brought to the table. They showed a lot. We got a lot of details, and I think they did what they needed to do. However, there was one glaring thing, a concern, as it were, that I have, which Bethesda never addressed. And, you know, there's a couple things they said they would address that they didn't, as far as I'm aware right now. Maybe they did and I just missed it, but like frame rate, they never clearly stated what this will run at, which is a little concerning. But the thing that really, really worries me is that throughout the course of the entire showcase, they showed a ton of gameplay, such as this, you know, base building, all of this craziness. And in general, it looked really, really good. Huge, expansive worlds. But you'll notice whenever you were on a planet's surface, the character was walking. Whenever they showed the ships, the ship would land with an intro animation. So like right here, we have the ship going towards the planet. And then when you select a landing destination, you'll see an animation like this play out where the ship actually lands at some selected position. And then every time you're out in the planet exploring, you're walking on 2 feet. Why is this concerning to me? Well, because they very carefully avoided showing any footage of a ship or any sort of vehicle operating on a planet's surface, which to me is baffling. Like, okay, if you are going to give me a spaceship and then 1,000 different planets that are the size of planets, I would expect to have some level of freedom within exploration, or at least some increased method of exploration, I guess is what I would say. Just something that makes it so I don't have to wander around on foot. Because why this is a problem is if I select to land on a planet's surface, like this beautiful planet here, and I land on this hillside, and that's where the game decided to plop me down. You select it in the menu, in the mini map or whatever, and then it lands you at this spot. If you look off in the distance and you see points of interest, like, oh, over there on that mountaintop, there's something I want to go. And I want to climb this mountain over here. You have to, according to what we know now, walk there. Which some people are like, well, Luke, I've played Skyrim and I walked around that map all over the place. What's the big deal? Skyrim was not the size of a freaking planet. It just wasn't. It was handcrafted for you to run. And these are planet-sized planets, allegedly 1,000 of them, over 1,000 of them, sorry. And we're expected to just land at a spot on a planet and then walk around until we go back to our ship. Now, one thing that it could be, there could be a solution to this in the form of selecting a different landing spot. What you can do in the map is allegedly you can select a landing spot like over here on this peninsula, or over here on the coast, on this island right there. Maybe we land there. Maybe that's what you would do. And then if you wanted to travel to that other peninsula, you would just fast travel up a little bit over here and do that. But again, that's just so clunky when you're building an actual spaceship. And in any other space sim game, you just get in the ship, fly it a little bit, and then you're good. Like, I don't understand how this is not a big deal to more people. And the fact that Bethesda tried so carefully not to show any footage of that happening, to me suggests, okay, well, it just doesn't happen. If you land on a planet, you walk to where you're going, and then if you want to go somewhere else on the planet, you have to go back to your ship and basically fast travel warp there. And that to me is just super underwhelming. It just is. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just lame. Is it a deal breaker? Probably not. I'm still gonna play Starfield. The ship customization looks badass and super awesome. Like the idea that you can just craft whatever ship you want, whatever shape you want, with all sorts of different people working it. Like so many parts of this game look amazing, but this is just such a baffling omission. I honestly feel like I'm missing something. Maybe they've confirmed this in interviews and this video is just totally useless and pointless, but I am amazed that they did not take the chance to show in-planet flight. And to me, it would just reflect that probably Bethesda couldn't get the data streaming working such that you could fly in real time without having massive frame drops or something happening. They just couldn't get it working, so they decided to just remove that. And if you want to explore like the map, you basically are just running around on foot. It's better than nothing, I suppose, but it is still to me a huge omission and kind of a big deal. It just is. Yeah, some of you guys in chat are asking, like, why don't we have maybe like land vehicles, rovers, speed bikes, or like hovercrafts or something, just mounts in general. Maybe we do get those. I am not sure at this point. I think that would probably be a must as far as I'm concerned, but it's just baffling to me. Like, if I was going to make a game and I was like, okay, I'm going to give you a planet to explore, much less 1,000. But if I just said like a single planet that's the size of a planet, and I'm gonna already give you a spaceship over here that you can use in space, I don't think it's that crazy of a thing to say, well, just give players the spaceship to fly around on the planet as a vehicle. Limit the speed. Say it's because of the atmosphere or something. That's what every other space sim like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen, any of these other games do. Just say, oh, the atmosphere makes it so it can't go full speed on the planet's surface. You have to fly a little slower, but you can still fly it. But apparently there's just no in-planet space flight, which is shocking to me. It's amazing to me. So I honestly don't have much more to say than that. It's just an amazing omission. And if it is in the game, I don't know why they wouldn't have shown it in this, 45-minute to an hour showcase of Starfield. I think it was a full hour. It was like 45 minutes. Like, that's plenty of time to show one clip of you flying the ship on the planet's surface going from point A to point B. But apparently you can't do that. It's just not in the game. That's wild. That's a lot of data considering 1,000 planets, I think. Yeah, it's a lot of data, but it's procedurally generated. And you know, there's been many other games that have already pulled this off, including No Man's Sky, which launched broken, granted, probably like Starfield most likely will, 7 years ago in 2016. So if they could get it working with a tiny team of like 23 people, Bethesda Game Studios should be able to swing it, I think. Am I crazy for this? When I did a survey of this like a week ago in chat, people started gaslighting me and saying, no, I'm actually really glad that it's not in the game. It'll help me with immersion. I don't know. It's just baffling to me. And I know people are like, hey, I've run around big maps before without a spaceship and it's not that big of a deal. Yes, but those games were not actual planet-sized planets. They weren't. Okay, the reason I'm saying planet-sized planets is because in a game like Outer Wilds, they're like mini planets, but they're planets, you know? So I'm clarifying, these are actual planets that you are allowed to explore, and they don't give you any vehicles to do it. It's just baffling to me. Music is neat in chat has a contrary position. I think you're 1,000% wrong about this being a big deal. This is literally missing the forest for the trees. Like I said, I don't think it's a deal breaker. I'm still gonna play the game and have a great time. It's just a baffling omission. And I think to pretend as though it's not an omission is just kind of silly. You're giving players a planet and then requiring them to fast travel, zip around when you're trying to claim that it's also about free exploration and traveling and seeing what this planet has to offer. It's just, to me, it's so clear. It's just so clear to me. But maybe I'm just delusional. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Maybe my expectations are just out of whack, or I've been spoiled by No Man's Sky and I've been spoiled by Star Citizen, these other games that have done this. But to me, it just seems like a big deal. It just seems like a big deal. Banana Braids. Luke, you're telling me you never wanted to walk the entire length of Earth? Yeah. Shocker, right? Yeah, I don't want to have to walk the entire length. That rank guy, thank you for the $5, but if you compare the detail in No Man's Sky planets compared to the detail of what they seem to be going for, they are worlds difference IMO. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think they showed anything in this that No Man's Sky is not currently doing. No Man's Sky has gotten insane, frankly, with what they're doing. But, you know, that's, I guess, a separate issue. Totally legit Nigerian prince. That's an awesome username. Thank you for the 20. No seamless atmosphere to space flight, no atmosphere flight, no ground vehicles, and looks like lack of city and human settlements. Doesn't give me a good feeling. Everything else looks good though, except facial animations. I think they said in a previous presentation that there are 4 large cities that they put most of their effort into. So 4 large cities across 1,000 planets to me seems low, but you know, if there's a bunch of smaller settlements and stuff, maybe that makes up for it. I'm not sure, but it's clear. Like, the reason I bring this up, okay, the reason I bring this up is because I think it's important to clearly understand what this game is. Todd, who is behind me and has been behind me this entire video, is a phenomenal salesman. He's a great salesman. And you know what the number one trick of sales is? You focus on the positive and you never mention the negative. Okay, if there's any negatives to the game, you don't talk about them. You just talk about the cool stuff that gets people excited. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, right? If this game is only 30 FPS on console, that's a bummer. So just don't talk about it. Ignore it. Show them the pretty stars. Show them the cool sunsets and sunrise, right? If there's no in-planet flight, don't do that. Just show the character slowly walking and then looking at a sunrise. They won't even really process it or think of it. And so a lot of people are just going to assume that, yeah, there's going to be a way to travel the planet quickly. Sure, like, of course. And they just won't realize it. So when you're thinking critically about anything, you have to evaluate the good, which these types of salespeople will present to you on a silver platter. And you also have to consider the stuff that they have hidden behind their back. And if you evaluate all of those evenly, you can come to a rationally justified position. But if all you're doing is focusing in this very, very limited view and perspective sort of way on what the salesman who wants you to buy this thing is trying to tell you, you're never going to have a justified position. If you go to a used car dealership and you're just listening to what the salesman is telling you, trying to get you to buy this thing, and you don't do any other research or you don't think about what he might not be telling you, then that makes you a sucker. It just does. Like, this isn't that complicated. In the space of used car dealerships, everybody agrees, don't believe everything the salesman tells you, and he's probably hiding some stuff from you. But when it comes to like video games, from guys that previously straight up scammed you with Fallout 76, no, it's probably fine. It's whatever. But anyway, to wrap all of this up, I want to be very clear. I think Starfield looks great in a lot of ways. I think this Xbox showcase was phenomenal, especially stuff like they showed with Fable. I thought Hellblade 2 was actually a pretty crappy trailer. I thought that was bafflingly bad coming from such an amazing team. But all told, I think they really knocked it out of the park today. I just think that Starfield has made a couple of really weird decisions. Their avoidance of discussing 60 FPS. We even just went in and tried watching some of the IGN showcase thing that they're doing for this after the stream, and it's pretty embarrassing. Honestly, it's just like a straight up puff piece. They were asked by their chat, hey, does it have a performance mode? They asked the guy that is actually playing the game or played the game yesterday for an hour, and he just said, yeah, let's talk about that later. Just didn't address it. Like, embarrassingly just avoiding questions, and they call themselves journalists. It's amazing to me. But things like the 60 FPS is a bummer. Is it a deal breaker? No. Some of the best games of all time released at 30. It's really not that big of a deal, but it's still a bummer. Let's just call a horse a horse. That's what it is, okay? As for the no in-planet flight, that's a bummer. Is it a deal breaker? Probably not. But I want to be clear about the bummers and the good things. Otherwise, we're just being fanboys hyping something up and refusing to acknowledge reality. And that's dumb. That's why I have an entire t-shirt on my online store, LukeStevensTV.com. Check it out today. That's just hype makes you stupid. Because hype makes you stupid. It makes you turn off your brain. You no longer clearly evaluate the good and the bad, and you just turn into a crazed fanboy who's borderline delusional. We try to avoid that on this channel, which is why I love every single one of you guys so much. But I just want to be clear when there's good and when there's bad so that we don't waste any time or, you know, do anything really, really stupid. Everybody say with me in chat, hype makes you stupid. And this super chat to end was really, really funny. Thank you for the 10, Devil Died Elvis. Anyone else finding it funny? It seems we've announced aliens in real life this week and yet none in Starfield. Which, to be clear, in the Starfield Direct, they didn't show or make it clear if there are aliens, like intelligent aliens anywhere. It seems like every NPC you find in the game, from what we've seen, are humanoids or just like straight up humans, and that's it, which was a little strange. But who knows? Maybe there are aliens and they just want to keep it secret for the story. I don't know. The guy at IGN that got to play an hour of Starfield and talk with them about it, he said that he didn't see any, so it is funny. Yes, I'll grant you that we have this week seen more aliens in real life, allegedly, than we did in Starfield. But, you know, what are you going to do? But anyway, all told, I think the game's going to be awesome. From what we've seen, I do think, though, it's probably going to launch pretty broken. It's probably going to be really buggy, because every Bethesda game is. And I'm sure it's going to have weird quirks, like no in-planet flight or anything like that. So you're going to be flying a spaceship, and instead of flying it a kilometer or two to get to your next objective, you have to walk on foot, because that makes total sense. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. Hopefully it's just awesome. But until then, we will put Todd away. Oh, Todd. We'll put you away until you emerge from cryo sleep again sometime in the future. But all told, well done, Xbox. Well done, Bethesda. I know there's some quirks with it, but I think overall this show was pretty phenomenal. And I think you won the summer showcase competition, amazingly enough. 2 months ago, nobody thought it was possible. And now it seems like a slam dunk. So well done. But anyway, if you want to see more videos of me complaining about video games, even though they're just video games and I'm a grown adult, make sure to subscribe and like the video for more. Thanks for watching. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses.